No fear, just like Tom Cruise.
This is Bob Ferguson.
I was a part of the French 75. I need to find my daughter.
Bitch, I felt like Tony Montana!
I need you, brother. Sensei, please.
Courage, Bob. Courage.
All right, picture this for a second. Paul Thomas Anderson, the filmmaker behind There Will Be Blood, The Master, and Licorice Pizza, finally teams up with Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, just hearing that pairing is enough to make film fans sit up a little straighter. Now, add this. The movie is shot for IMAX, designed for 70mm screenings, with Johnny Greenwood scoring the tension. It doesn't sound like just another release. It feels like a cinematic event. And that's really the hook. One battle after another isn't being positioned as just another thriller or drama. It's being framed as the biggest film of Anderson's career. But here's the question. When you put this much ambition and expectation into one project, does it elevate the story or risk getting crushed under its own weight? That's what we're diving into today. So let's set the stage. One Battle After Another hits September 26, 2025. And it's being marketed as Anderson's most ambitious project yet. And by ambitious, I don't mean superhero spectacle. No, this is big in a different sense. Big format, big cast, big stakes for PTA's career. Leading the charge, of course, is Leonardo DiCaprio as Bob Ferguson, a former revolutionary turned reluctant fighter. Then there's Sean Penn, stepping in as the antagonist. That kind of character, who always seems 5 moves ahead. Add Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall, Teyana Taylor, and Chase Infiniti, and suddenly this lineup reads more like a film festival roster than a studio tentpole. Warner Bros. Is reportedly investing over $150 million, which is huge for a character-driven, politically tinged thriller. The studio is essentially betting on cinema itself being the draw. Talent, story, and scale over gimmicks. And that brings us to the big question. What kind of story could pull all of this together? At the center is Bob Ferguson. DiCaprio plays a man who thought his revolutionary life was behind him. 16 years of quiet living, trying to move on. But the past doesn't just vanish. One day, an old enemy appears, dragging him back into a world he hoped he'd left behind. And it's personal. The heart of the story is Ferguson's missing daughter. That's the mission. Everything else, politics, grudges, alliances, swirls around that one simple, urgent goal. Bring her home. That clarity gives the thriller a heartbeat. Some movies bury you under twists and betrayals, which can be fun. But here, even when the world is messy, the mission is always clear. So what do you prefer? Straightforward missions like this? Or thrillers where you're constantly untangling webs of deception? Because Anderson seems to go for both. A clear emotional core, layered with history and conflict. Now let's talk about the people bringing the story to life. DiCaprio is doing what he does best, inhabiting Ferguson without always speaking. Every glance, every pause is heavy with regret and history. And when the story demands it, that quiet tension erupts. Sean Penn as the antagonist? Man, he can make even casual lines feel threatening. Their on-screen chemistry is like cinematic electricity, just waiting to ignite. Benicio del Toro brings calm and wisdom, the kind of presence that keeps you guessing. Regina Hall reportedly anchors the film morally, giving lines that resonate. And Teyana Taylor? Early impressions say she lights up the screen, adding energy and spark to the slow burn tension. Which matchup excites you most? DiCaprio versus Penn or DiCaprio opposite Taylor? Both promise very different kinds of tension, and Anderson lets both breathe naturally. So how does PTA actually handle all of this? This isn't a loud action spectacle. You won't see endless chases or CGI chaos. Instead, PTA leans into silence, long pauses, and characters circling each other. The tension comes from observation, hesitation, and subtle glances. The humor is bone-dry, sneaky, and character-driven. You smirk rather than laugh out loud. Violence, when it hits, is fast, ugly, and leaves you rattled. It's about experiencing the scene, not just observing it. Here's a thought. Would you be okay with a thriller that simmers in silence, or do you need constant action to stay engaged? PTA clearly trusts the audience to lean in. Now let's talk look and sound, because it's a huge part of the experience. The movie is shot on 35mm in VistaVision, giving it a tactile, grainy texture that feels alive. Night scenes glow with sodium streetlights. Desert shots shimmer with heat. And the camera doesn't shy away from uncomfortably close frames when tension peaks. Then there's Johnny Greenwood on the score. Strings like tightening wires, percussion like clanging tools. Even quiet moments hum with tension. It's not just music, it's another character, pulling you deeper into Ferguson's world. Quick question, would you make the IMAX 70mm trip, or settle for a normal screen if the story hits hard? Because part of the draw is experiencing the scale Anderson intended. So what's clicking? The core mission keeps the story grounded. Ferguson's hunt for his daughter gives you a human heartbeat amid the political layers. The cast delivers distinct flavors: DiCaprio's weight, Penn's menace, Del Toro's calm, Hall's moral clarity, Taylor's spark. Together they create a rich ensemble. The scale serves the story, amplifying drama without overshadowing it. IMAX and VistaVision make every quiet moment more intense. And Greenwood's score isn't background. It feels alive, shaping tension and emotion throughout. When you add all this together, it's hard not to be impressed. But there are challenges. The runtime is almost 3 hours, long for a thriller. Not every viewer will stick with the slow burn tension. Warner Brothers' festival strategy is unclear. Avoiding early reviews or delaying buzz could affect momentum. And the budget, $150 million plus, is high for a character-driven, politically tinged thriller. Box office success isn't guaranteed. Finally, PTA's long pauses and quiet tension might frustrate viewers used to constant movement. Would you prefer Anderson trim it down, or enjoy letting scenes breathe and tension simmer? So where does this leave us? One battle after another feels like Anderson reaching for legacy. Intimate faces in giant formats, personal stakes with political shadows, quiet tension exploding into chaos. Not for everyone, but cinema lovers will feel it. If you enjoy slow burn thrillers, precise performances, immersive visuals, and a score that cuts deep, this is a movie you'll remember 10 years from now. The cast is phenomenal. The scale serves the story, and Anderson's direction, combined with Greenwood's score, creates something you inhabit, not just watch. I'm definitely in. Opening weekend, count me there. But I want to hear from you. Do you prefer thrillers that slowly build tension, or ones with constant action? And which matchup are you most excited to see? DiCaprio versus Penn, or DiCaprio versus Taylor? Drop your thoughts. Because this is exactly the kind of movie where the conversation after the credits is just as fascinating as the story itself. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more deep dives, reviews, and movie conversations coming your way, and you won't want to miss them.